If you are into training and movement, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. Like and comment, because it really helps out the channel and it allows me to keep making and putting out these videos for you guys. Now, ladies, gentlemen, and my often forgotten, but not by me, skull crushers. Today, I'm going to be taking you through some exercises that are going to increase your strength for handstands. So, let's get right into it. Okay team, the first exercise I have in store for you guys today is going to require a stick. You can use a broomstick, a mop handle, whatever it is that you have at your disposal. And with this stick, we're going to start looking at overhead arm extension. Now, why is this important? Obviously, because in a handstand, you're going to be operating most of the time with your arms overhead. So it's going to be important to be able to lift your arms as far overhead as you can in order to create a straight line between your arms and your torso. If you cannot get a straight line between your arms and torso, generally speaking, if you get stuck around here, you will have to use your spine to compensate, and this creates all sorts of zigzag banana lines that everyone dreads in our handstand. However, because this video is not about handstand and shoulder mobility, all I will say about overhead mobility is that if you cannot lift your arms overhead and have a straight line between your shoulders and your torso, get out there and do some hanging. Passive hangs will increase your overhead mobility greatly, so that's one that I would go to. Other than that, let's get to it with what we have at our disposal. So for this exercise, you're going to start lying down prone on the floor with your arms overhead, and you're going to be holding your stick shoulder width apart. Try to connect your whole rib cage to the floor and try and keep your chin on the floor as well. Once you are set up like so, I want you to try your hardest to start lifting the stick up off the floor using your shoulder blades and your shoulder muscles, upper back muscles only. You are not allowed to use your spine or your thoracic mid-back region to lift the stick. Here's what that should look like. So, full ribs down on the floor, chin down on the floor, slightly gazing up with the head and with the eyes, looking towards your hands, and you are going to lift and hold. Notice how my back didn't move. All of the movement came from my shoulders only. That's super important because we're trying to prime all of the muscles in the upper back and shoulders to lift our arms overhead, as they will need to be in our handstand. So once again, full rib cage on the floor, chin on the floor, slightly looking up, and lift. Hold for 10 seconds. And down. Now, it might be the case that when you try this, you might not even be able to lift your hands off the floor. That can be quite normal if you've never tried to do a handstand before, you've never worked your overhead range before. Why? Because we tend not to use the overhead range very much, and when we need to, we tend to compensate and get the spine involved. So if you cannot lift your arms off the floor at all, it doesn't really matter, hang in there and try your best and your hardest to lift as much as possible. This should start priming and strengthening the upper back and shoulder muscles to get that lift eventually. The other thing you're going to do if that is the case is you're going to start passive hanging. Daily basis, you want to accumulate between 3 to 5 minutes of passive hanging. Passive hanging is simply hanging off any anchor point and letting gravity and your weight do the work for you. It'll eventually open up a lot of the anterior chain and you'll be able to get your arms overhead. In any case, you're going to be working this drill as well for your handstands. Good volume recommendation here is 3 sets of 10-second holds. If you can do more than 10 second, build your way up to 30-second holds. So 3 sets of 30-second holds would be ideal. Okay, so another important strength position in the handstand is going to be the plank. It's a simple position, and you might be thinking to yourself, Farid, I can already plank, but if you get yourself into a plank and you start shaking within the first 10 seconds, it's not good enough. You're not going to last upside down for very long. So you must be able to plank solidly without shaking and with good shoulder position. I'm going to show you what this is going to look like now. So you're going to be in your solid plank position. Your hands are going to be shoulder width apart. You're going to make sure that your hips aren't up and that your back isn't collapsing. You're nice and straight here. And the other thing you want to make sure of is that you protract your shoulder blades, push them out as much as possible. And from here, there mustn't be any shaking or any weakness at all inside of a whole minute. You must be able to hold a solid minute of plank without shaking. This should be a walk in the park for you if you're even considering starting to handstand. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why do I need to have a strength in the plank? Because in the handstand my arms are going to be overhead. That's all good and well. However, in order to get yourself up into the handstand, you're going to need strength in this range as well, because usually speaking, you will start your kick up with a slightly more closed shoulder angle. Sometimes you might start with this body position and you need to be able to kick and resist your body here as soon as your feet come off the ground. So yes, you're not going to be spending a humongous amount of time with your shoulder joint in this angle in the handstand, but you're still going to need strength and confidence in that range if you even want to start getting up into your handstand. A slightly more advanced version of the plank, if you can hold it for a minute without shaking, is going to be a single arm plank hold. Here's what that's going to look like. Same principles as before, hands shoulder width apart, and you are going to push your shoulders out. Now the only difference is you're going to lean your weight over to one side, push your shoulders out even more, and remove the arm. 10-second hold here, super strong, no shaking, and swap, push, lift. Make sure you're using your serratus to push and hold yourself nice and straight here, and so on and so forth. A good volume recommendation is to do 3 10-second holds on each arm, rest and repeat that 3 times. Okay team, so an obvious position that you need to be strong in for your handstand is going to be that overhead position. Not just the overhead position, you want to be strong in the overhead position of course, but with your shoulders slightly elevated as well. So you need your shoulder and scapular strength and awareness to be able to push your shoulders up and your scapula and elevate it. Also, the straight arm strength to hold yourself up there. And for this, I have an exercise that's going to require you to elevate your feet up onto a surface. I'm going to be using my chair here, and I'll show you how this one's going to go. You're going to start by elevating your feet up onto the chair or your box. And you're going to try to straighten your legs or lift your hips up into the air and get as close to vertical as you can, so arms as overhead as possible and your body line following that straight line as much as possible. From here, you are going to sink down into your shoulder blades just a little bit and then use your scapula and shoulder muscles and your upper traps to push and elevate your shoulders. And repeat this for reps. 2, 3, 4, 5, and you are going to rep this for a minimum of 8 reps, and you're going to hold the last rep for 10 seconds. So recommended volume that I think you should build up to be able to do is 3 sets of 10 shrugs with a 10-second pause on the last rep. Okay team, and that wraps up today's beginner handstand strength video. If you've been watching this video and you've been thinking to yourself, I really like Farid's trainers, guys, Vivo Barefoot. Full disclosure, I am currently working with them and they've given me a discount code to share with you guys. So if you're interested in some of their products, go ahead and check them out. Use my discount code, it's my name in caps. You can get 10% off, I believe, of any product on the website, unless it's on sale. They've got stuff for men, women, kids, vegan, non-vegan, and I work with them because I use and like their products. I wouldn't promote them if I didn't. So get in there, check them out, and if you fancy anything, use my discount code. As always, if you found this video useful, like and comment because it helps out the channel and it allows me to keep putting up these videos for you guys. I'm going to be doing a few more videos on handstand strength so that we can cover a slightly wider gamut of positions and strength benchmarks that are going to be useful for the handstand. So keep a lookout for it, guys. That is all I have for you guys today. I will see you in the next one.